eventually you raised $1 million pre-seed round from a number of pretty notable people. Take me through how that came together, Sid.
Yeah, we very lucky to get into Techstars. They really helped us with respect to like the fundraising process. I think that was one of the things that I really had no clue about. We had raised a little bit of money, like 45K, I think, before Techstars from like student funds, like dorm room fund. I'll also shout out to them. They were one of our first backers. They're typically like first check into student founded companies. They're backed by first round. And Arrow Capital, who are a subset of Bow Capital, which invests in like UC companies. So basically no real round that I had ever done or never run the fundraising process. And so Techstars taught me everything I needed to know about how to do it. And we kind of just like went by the book of what they said to do. And we set out to raise 500K because we thought that that was what we needed in order to hit the milestones that we reasonably wanted to hit by the end of that 18-ish month period post raise. And we had maybe Techstars demo day was October 8th, October 7th at 7 p.m., 8 p.m. something. We had like less than half the round committed, which is like a okay position to be in going into a demo day because we hadn't officially started fundraising. By then, our fundraise was kicking off at demo day. And the night before demo day, Spencer Raskoff, the founder CEO of Zillow, emailed, and I had just met him like 2 days ago, and he said, "Hey, I know demo day's tomorrow. I want to take the rest of you around." And we love Spencer. He and I had really vibed and gotten along really well. He believed in us and space and the mission of the company and all that kind of stuff. And so quickly called Anna, talked to her about it, and decided, okay, cool, we're gonna take it. And we're going to raise a little bit more. And that at that point, we got oversubscribed because we were only going for 500. And beyond that, it was like, okay, now because we're not going to really significantly increase the valuation that we're raising at, we get to be extremely picky about, we want to work with, I didn't want to play games with, I'm not the kind of person that wants to like farm a really high valuation, especially at pre-seed. It was more about bringing really good people that are going to help us onto the cap table. And so I said, okay, now we get to be super picky about who we work with. And Spencer introduced us to some awesome people. So Jeff Wilke, the founder CEO, the CEO of Amazon's consumer business, the number 2 exec at Amazon, he joined into the round. A few other funds that we're really lucky to be working with joined in. And it took us, we were very lucky. Our entire fundraising process was like 3 weeks long. So very, very fast. And that, again, like timing, luck played a lot to do with that, but we kind of have to like increase your surface area to get lucky with these kinds of things. And so Techstars just told me everything I needed to do in terms of how to craft a good pitch, how to clearly communicate. And really a good pitch is about communicating the mission and the value of their product, and the like the way that the team is thinking about it. And I think, that was one of the biggest things is like, I really don't think we would have raised a round or nearly as big of a round, or with as good investors without Techstars.
With that too, with Spencer then coming on board and loving what you're doing, what was the pitch at that time in terms of the story around Kona when Spencer decided to take the rest of the round? I'm curious.
Great question. Honestly, not the mission of the company really hasn't changed. The whole like goal around like doing things around the softer side of remote work and remote work is now just work. But doing things around like, focusing on the softer side, culture building, that kind of like stuff was really always the goal. And like, because we were able to identify that is the hardest problem, that and right from the like built a solid fundamental. And so in terms of like the problem we are solving is undoubtedly one of the most important problem that a company can face and will face over the next decade. And so that fundamental, I think, has not changed at all. And the things that have changed are like the product implementation details of the solution, how like go-to-market strategy, all that kind of stuff is like very much like can change in a heartbeat. But I think Spencer saw that the mission of the company and like how much we cared about solving this problem and how much it like really like pertained to who we are as people. Just like young kids that have grown up in a virtual first world in terms of relationship building. I myself have lived in 4 different countries. Adaptability, social adaptability, emotional intelligence has always been like kind of the center of like my personality and who I am. I'm a 99th percentile extrovert. As you can tell, I talk a lot, way too much. Um, and so I think just like that level of like we really care about this problem and we want it solved, and Spencer agreed with us and felt the same way, I do believe in this kind of like once you meet someone and it clicks like that, it just does.
Yeah, and that's something I was talking again with Amos this morning about, just with how important that storytelling part of it is early on, in terms of figuring out what your story is and how you portray that to investors, to potential customers, to potential employees. I know you're also hiring now as well, which we can get into in a bit, but like all of that storytelling is how you convince good people to join you. It's how you convince good people to invest in you, and so it's something that it's so vital, especially at the earliest of stages, and it goes on to the next stages as well. But especially early on when you're trying to get that first traction. And one